Welcome back to the Angry Man Podcast with Jason and Greg. So, Jay, big news came out today in regards to potentially the opponent for Gervonta Davis. You know, they always say, do not make an assumption. You don't know who Gervonta Davis is going to fight until Gervonta Davis or Leonard Ellaby announces it. And so I'm just going to say there's strong evidence out there that would suggest that his next opponent is Lamont Roach Jr. Now, it was announced today through the WBA, or at least on their website. And I'm on their website currently, so I want to read this very quickly. The World Boxing Association Championship Committee has granted special permission to super featherweight world champion Lamont Roach Jr. to move up in class to face Gervonta Davis for the lightweight championship on December 14th. And there's some other stuff here. No Excuse Boxing Promotion sent the formal request on September 13th, which was received by the committee to be considered and consulted with the team of Albert, whatever you say, however you pronounce this dude's name, who is the mandatory 130-pound challenger. All right. So, Jay, this would strongly suggest that Lamont Roach Jr. is the next opponent. However, one thing I do want to point out before we move on is that, it's been requested on September 13th for this. All this means is that he is a possibility for sure. It is not 100% locked in. It's just more so a possibility based off of the way that this is worded here. We don't know who else could possibly be an opponent for Gervonta Davis. So I would say you still have to wait to some degree. I've seen some people out there announcing breaking news that is definitely a go. I would say that is not necessarily true, but there is strong evidence that would suggest that Lamont Roach Jr. would be the next opponent for Gervonta Davis, and we don't have any other evidence, if you will, to support any other fighter being his next opponent. Now, how do I feel about this fight, Jay? Am I excited about it? Not really. I'm not excited about the opponent. We've seen Lamont Roach Jr. and he is a champion. Don't get me wrong, moving up from 130 pounds, so it's unlike what we saw with Shakur Stevenson moving Cordina up, who had just been knocked out. So totally different situation there, and I want to put that out there before we see people in the comment section making an analogy or a comparison that really doesn't make sense. But he's just, the name value for Lamont Roach Jr. is just not there. Now, I'm always excited to see Gervonta Davis back in the ring, of course, but Lamont Roach Jr. is just not the name that's going to get people enticed. Now, I want to say this. To those of you who are going to criticize this fight, who else is he going to fight? Shakur isn't available. Devin isn't available. He's basically 3 weight class above Gervonta Davis the way, he comes into the ring. Zepeda is already locked into a fight. He beat Frank. Like, what's the next viable opponent for Gervonta Davis in terms of excitement, belief that there's a chance that he'll lose? I don't see any other opponent out there that Tank can face in December that the fans are going to give their stamp of approval. And it's not really even the fans, it's the critics that are going to give their stamp of approval to Gervonta Davis. Even if he was fighting an absolute monster, they wouldn't give it a stamp of approval, because Tank doesn't get the credit that he deserves. So those are my thoughts on it, Jay. What's your thoughts on the potential of a Lamont Roach fight?
Yeah, this is where we're at because of one person, Lomachenko ducking. But no one's going to bring that up. No one's going to talk about how he ducked off on this. That caused all these things to go into effect right now. We would have been talking about Tank and Loma fighting in November. But Loma ducked off. So then he has to go to the next. Shakur said, pick me if Loma's not available. Shakur went and pulled Joe Cordina out his butt. Pulled him up off the canvas, literally off the canvas.
Literally
him
off
at
the
145. So he was in training. He got his hands are messed up. Then you go to Zepeda. Zepeda was going through stuff, having a baby or whatnot. Said he could come back in November. He was all talking about fighting Shakur only. They don't want the Tank smoke. So, to your point, Devin just going through a whole bunch of stuff with Ryan. So he's off the books. And people, if he fought Devin right now and knocked Devin out, they'll say, you know what they say? They'll say, Well, Devin was damaged. He needed a step up fight. He needed a tune up fight. So Devin's off the board. Tio's in litigation with Top Rank to even try to see if he can even fight this year. He's off the board. So I mean, the only other person I would say probably around that's actually at his weight class, but it's not even ranked in the WBA, is Raymond Mortala. But Raymond just had a fight with Tevin Farmer where he arguably possibly lost or had a draw with him. So that's not something. But at least Lamont Roach is coming off a win, 2 wins really, last year and then this year, and coming off a common opponent with Hector Garcia. He beat Hector Garcia for the belt that Tank whipped up on Hector Garcia last year. Lamont is a taller fighter. They have about the same reach. And he's a champion. He's not coming off a loss. Is it the fight that we want?
What I got to throw this one out here to you because I know people are going to be in the comment section talking about this. What about Edwin De Los Santos?
He's hurt.
He's hurt?
Yeah, he was hurt. He was hurt. His manager said he was hurt. Also, that's Shakur's leftovers.
He wouldn't get credit for it.
He wouldn't get credit for that. So what's the point of him fighting Shakur? I mean, fighting Edwin De Los Santos. None. People, he's scared. Come on, man, stop it. He couldn't fight Rayo. Rayo's a champion at 140. Rayo has a rematch clause with Pitbull, so that was out of the table.
He was going to have to come down to fight Tank, and we all know that.
Yeah. I mean, it makes it seem like Rayo wasn't just at 135, a fight before that. Before he fought Pitbull Cruz at 140.
Isn't that amazing? All of a sudden now Tank is draining Rayo, who only moved up to 40 to face Pitbull, who was also just at 35.
But not only that, so if Tank were to go to 140, it's okay for Tank to go up. But when Tank brings someone, he pulling some little guy up. So if Tank goes at 140, is he not a little guy being pulled up to 140? Is that not the same?
No, they just want to see him lose.
Tank rules.
Yeah,
it's the tank rules. Just like back in the day in basketball, you can relate to this, the Jordan rules by Detroit Pistons. Same thing. So they're trying to just discredit Tank no matter what. It's not the fight we all wanted. The fight we wanted, we thought we were getting was the Loma fight. Then we like, okay, maybe we can get Shakur. That fell off. Now it was scrambling. It's scrambling because Tank needs to be active. So this is the next best thing. The dude is a champion. Lamont Roach is a champion. He's from DC. He's from DC, so he got all that whole little area over there going at it. I think it'll be a good fight as far as the local, and then bring it in. Plus, people say Tank is for the urban culture, so this is perfect for that. But again, it's not the fight we all wanted, but it's the fight we're gonna get right now. And hopefully, 2025, hopefully we'll see Tank in there with either Shakur, Loma, Zepeda, Tio, Devin. We'll get some of those fights next year because they all on his list. I think he's gonna get one or two of them next year. As long as they don't do like Loma did and duck.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the top fighters at 135 pounds, and you got, to your point,
all exposed.
Lomachenko, Zepeda, Shakur. Keyshawn is not going to happen, even though they got him ranked fairly high. George Kambosos is a waste of time. Frank Martin has already been beat. Andy Cruz need to get in the ring with actually Keyshawn Davis, and then Mortala. There's no real options for Gervonta Davis, but we'll see what ends up happening. I'm curious to see what people have to say in the comment section. Perhaps we'll put up a poll and talk a little bit about the fight, get you guys perspective. Let us know what you think. Don't forget to hate, like, comment, and subscribe. This is the Angry Man Podcast, M Sports Media, and we are out.